Tonight on ESPN, the New England Neurobashers face off against the San Francisco Cerebellums. It's the Head Smash Playoffs. Head Smash. 2 teams, 20 brains, no helmets. Pure trauma. The winning team goes on to face the Green Bay Neurobashers and legendary quarter brain Jamie Tyson at the Stupor Bowl, New Orleans Encephalodome. The Head Smash semifinals only on ESPN. But first, questionable material with Jack and Brian. You are listening to Questionable Material with Jack Helmuth and Brian Sack. This episode, carpenter bees, spelling bees, an interview with a Cuomo. Did your snotty neighbor's lawn crew come over and cut your hair?
Well, that's actually something I wanted to discuss on today's podcast, is that I got a haircut. I got my first quarantine haircut, my first haircut in 10 weeks.
Wow.
And I let my 7-year-old daughter do it.
Yeah.
With thought that my wife can clean it up. My wife's a designer. She knows about,
Right, because, interior design and hairstyling are the same. Totally. I get it.
I mean, I just figured she has enough of a look of an eye for like creating like straight lines or that she could just figure it out, man, that she wouldn't leave me looking like someone's lawn crew came over and butchered my hair. But it's awful. It's awful. Yeah.
No, it looks awful from here, but maybe it's different up close. No, wow. Hard to believe that a 7-year-old doesn't cut hair well.
You know, I figured I'd give her like one of those quarantine moments that she's never going to forget. Where it's like, she likes to pretend to play barber. That was a game we used to play. So I'm like, I'll let her chop off a bunch of my hair with scissors for real. And then I'll just have my wife clean it up. But then, my wife had also had some wine and she just kept laughing and she tried to cut and it looks awful, man. Every time my wife looks at me, she laughs at me. I had a conference call, a Zoom call for my work today where we're interviewing with the host of my show. And we have this director of this movie is coming out. And my wife told me this morning, like, you have to wear a hat. You can't let people see you like this.
You just tell people you went to boot camp.
Well, there's also like some of the hair is still kind of long in the back. They just never really finished that. But there's also a hole in the back. There's like a landing strip.
So how long is she grounded for?
Oh, well, she's out of the will. We don't ground people, but I like to punish my kids financially. Mm-hmm. So like the grounding thing, that feels like very Brady Bunch. It feels like very 1960s. She's just completely out of the will. I mean, as my female child, she wasn't going to get much anyway. You were just
looking for an excuse.
I kind of was.
To keep everything running down the male line.
I kind of was.
When people complain about the patriarchy, you're who they're talking about.
Well, look, my son is going to inherit my land, and I wish my daughter nothing but the best. I really do.
Well, I hope she doesn't marry one of my sons because I don't feel like giving you a dowry. All I have is a cat.
Well, your sons are going to have the shittiest haircuts in New York City if they do.
I'd like to think that they'd actually just go to a professional hair cutter.
Well, that's assuming that in 20 years when our families finally unite in holy matrimony that the quarantine will be over. And I don't quite think so.
Oh, boy. And by the way, happy belated Memorial Day.
Thanks, Brian.
Just
and
kidding.
To you.
You're not supposed to say happy. People get really pissed off.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. Well, because it's a solemn day. I mean, you're remembering people who fell in combat.
Well, unless we don't know they all sacrificed.
You're right. Yeah, some of them might have been running away.
Right.
And so it should be unhappy Memorial Day, except for those people who are running away.
Well, a study shows that most soldiers who die in wars were AWOL and taking the coward's way out. That's 95% of all casualties in war.
And what website did you get that from? Salon.com?
I did, yeah, because I know that's where I get all my military news is from Salon. Mm-hmm. And I figured I'd say a statement like that would really endear me to our listeners.
That's right. Yeah, they love hearing the military be demeaned.
In all seriousness, of course, that's not true, and we do love and appreciate our military.
Yeah, I'm cutting that out. I'm going to make it look. I'm going to edit this deceptively, like CBS, and make it look like you just hate the military. Say, I love the United States military. I do not hate them. Say it.
Okay. I love the United States military. I do not hate them.
And now I'm going to deceptively edit it into this.
I do not love the United States military. I hate them. I hate the United States. I hate the military. I didn't say that. That's not true. Those are not my words. I mean, those are my words.
Oh, yeah, they are your words. You just admitted it. Okay, moving on. You hate.
Oh my gosh, it's like 60 minutes here.
Shameful.
How was your Memorial Day? What did you guys do?
Well, you don't want to hear my story?
No, sorry. I thought I was just hoping it was over by now. Go ahead.
Well,
if you're still not done, go ahead.
Not done. I painted a shed and I built traps to kill carpenter bees.
So weird that you mentioned that, because I was just before this podcast, I was on my front porch trying to kill carpenter bees.
Yeah, we can build a carpenter trap. So I built one. I built a couple of those last night, and I'm waiting for my first customer. I keep popping out to see if I've had any customers.
So you're waiting for your first carpenter bee customer.
I call them customers.
Why do you call a victim of your death trap a customer?
Because they're a client. It's kind of like they're my first client. I'm excited. You know how a business gets a dollar bill when their first customer comes in and you get the dollar bill.
Yeah, and you pin it up or frame it. Sure.
So when I get my first carpenter bee, I'm just going to squish it between a glass frame and hang it on my wall. And I might even sign it like, Buzz.
Wait a minute. Why would you autograph it Buzz?
Because that's probably what he would say. They're really dumb. Like they climb into the hole, but then they can't get out again. In my my carpenter bee trap. Yeah, they go up at an angle, then they drop down into your glass mason jar. And then somehow they're just really dumb. And they're like, there's no possible way I can get out of here. I guess I'll die.
No, that's great.
Yeah, strange.
So you take the carpenter bee corpse and you're planning to just desecrate it.
Tastefully. I'm going to put a mat around it. There'll be like a 1 or 2 inch mat, white mat around it, maybe a black frame. And I'll just hang it above my workshop, my first customer of my new fledgling carpenter bee trap company.
Now, what if this carpenter bee's family flies by and is like, oh my gosh, there's mom.
Then hopefully they will go into one of my traps and die. I don't have a lot of love for carpenter bees. I'm watching them drill holes in all the wood.
I guess not. All right.
And I know they must hate, our city slickers coming up to the country and building bee traps and getting upset that they're drilling in wood and doing what they do.
Right.
But I just need them out of my pergola.
Now, speaking of sort of combining some of the things we've been talking about, you used to build homeless person traps in the city. Is that right?
I did until I was told not to.
Okay. Well, so what happened there? How did the trap work? And then what sort of pushback did you get?
It would be like they were rather large. I built them with pallets, wooden shipping pallets to keep the cost down. But on one end, there'd be like a dollar on the bottom and sticking out. And really it was glued in. It was glued to the pallet. And when you tried to pull on the dollar, it was actually that particular wall of the pallet trap was on a hinge. And so you'd actually pull it up by the bottom.
Right. And
then I would come running behind and just do a flying jump kick and then kick you into the pallet. And then I would close it and padlock it.
That seems, gosh, it doesn't seem like that great an invention. I'll be honest with you. It sounds like half an invention and half just assault. Yeah,
that's what the police said. They took me aside and they said, listen, we appreciate what you're trying to do. We know the neighborhood's gone a little bit downhill, but you can't build wooden pallet traps to capture hobos.
So you're trying to capture hobos and homeless people.
Hobos are homeless people with a train.
Your apartment building is within Grand Central Station. Is that right?
I live in Grand Central Station.
Yeah.
Because I always wanted the hustle and bustle of city life. So I thought, how about like in the middle of a transit hub? Like,
wow, that's just strange.
Build a nice, small but quaint house in the middle of Grand Central. The wife doesn't like it as much.
Why not?
Because I spent all the money on building the house, so we don't have curtains.
Oh, gosh.
So there's zero privacy.
Oh, so what happens when like she needs to take a shower or change clothes?
Well, then be a lot of congestion outside the house. And then that blocks a lot of people's, people are trying to get to their trains, but there's a whole line of onlookers watching my wife take a shower. So it gets awkward.
Now, I read a report that a lot of contact tracing was directly linked to your wife's shower schedule, that COVID, a lot of people are saying that COVID spread so rapidly due to the Sack family.
They're calling her like she's the COVID Mary, like the typhoid Mary.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. They kind of think she might've been responsible for a couple thousand cases, which of course explodes into a bigger number.
Right. Well, if you're going to believe the scientists and doctors.
Yeah. And I don't.
You're smart.
Why would you?
Smart.
These people, they want science. They want evidence, empirical crap. Come on.
Come on, just stop it. Knock that stuff out. We know this is politics.
Yep.
If you could just walk me back again, just real quickly on that homeless person trap.
Mm-hmm.
So, I get the drop kick and all that stuff. But so let's say all that works. So they pull up the dollar bill that, let's hope it's not a child picking up a dollar bill or someone who just needs a dollar bill. Let's say it's the homeless person or hobo as intended. They pick up the dollar bill. You successfully drop kick them. And then what is the process after they're trapped? And how do they not escape?
There's anger.
Mm-hmm.
And then denial. Like this can't be happening. And then there's grief because they're sad that they're stuck in a pallet prison. And then there's bargaining.
Okay.
Where they say, Brian, please let me out of here. I'll do, please, I'll help you. I'll give you some of my score. I've got a discarded piece of Samsonite luggage that has stuff in it. You can have that. I have take my shopping cart.
That's like Storage Wars, man. Like you might score. Like, Have you ever taken a deal? Have you ever freed a homeless person during the bargaining stage of this process?
No, because I wait because I want to know what the next stage is going to be.
Oh yeah.
I wait on the bargaining, and then comes asphyxiation.
So the stage after bargaining is asphyxiation?
Yeah, because that's when I cover the pallet trap in a tarp.
Oh, gosh. I haven't done a ton of 12-step programs, but I'm not sure that's normal.
It's not normal. And the cops, they said, there's not going to be any more of that. Do you understand? And I said, yes, sir. You've
been in all sorts of 12-step programs, and do you do the same thing where you go from bargaining to asphyxiation?
Well, in Smokers Anonymous, you go into self-asphyxiation. So they do it because then, they get emphysema.
Sure.
And then slowly suffocate.
Yeah, that's true.
And then Alcoholics Anonymous, it was bargaining, then sloshed. Because you basically fall off the wagon.
Mm-hmm.
Narcotics Anonymous, it was bargaining overdose. So, yeah, I think the bargaining asphyxiation thing is pretty much only for Hobo Abductors Anonymous.
Oh, wow. See, I so much I don't know about the world. I didn't even know that was a group.
Yeah, I formed it.
Oh, wow. Oh, cool.
I was inspired by Bill W. of Alcoholics Anonymous.
It's nice to be first at something.
Yeah, no, put out signs and said we're having weekly meetings in the church basement. Hobo Abductors Anonymous, HBA.
What sort of turnout do you get?
We don't.
Oh.
Yeah, it turns out I'm the only one doing this.
Well, again, it's great to be first at something. It's called being a trailblazer, and that you should be proud.
I'm a pioneer.
Is it true that you're Philip Seymour Hoffman's sponsor in Narcotics Anonymous?
I was, yep.
And what happened?
Well, I didn't, I used to have a calendar, a paper calendar.
Yeah.
And it's and every Thursday it'll be like, call Philip Seymour Hoffman, let him know you care and check and see how he's doing. And then, I decided to go digital like everybody else with my Palm Pilot.
Yeah.
And so I started, I was copying the calendar over and for some reason it didn't sync. So I didn't get the Thursday reminder. And after 3 Thursdays of me not calling him to offer my support, he relapsed.
No kidding.
Yeah. And I felt so bad that I mailed him a package of heroin with fentanyl mixed in.
Why? Why would you do that? That's a really bad sponsor move.
I just felt guilty that I wasn't there for him. So I said, this is on me.
I thought just your neglect of his emotional needs led to his death, but you actually, your apology was laced heroin.
Yeah, I guess.
Do you see that maybe how that'd be a bad idea?
Yeah, yeah, you can see it. And, I sent him an April Fool's syringe. So all the numbers were off.
Uh-huh.
So when it said like 1 cc was actually 4.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's a crazy, intricate April Fool's Day prank.
It really is. I like to prank people.
You are hilarious with your pranks. Now you used to have you used to pull these crazy pranks on Kobe Bryant, right? You guys used to play pickup games together?
Yes.
So like what sort of pranks would you and Kobe would you pull on Kobe?
Oh, I do, one of my favorite pranks is the ping pong ball prank.
The ping pong ball. I'm not familiar with that. What is that again?
It's called the ping pong prank.
Oh, okay. Sounds hilarious.
So you got to get about 300 ping pong balls.
Okay.
Okay. And then you put them into the fuel tank of a helicopter or a car. And what it does is it shows in the fuel indicator that you have a full tank. But of course, you've got maybe a gallon.
Man, that's a crazy prank.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh my gosh, you guys must have had so many laughs.
I did this one time. He had a motorcycle, and so I would do it to his motorcycle. Be out for a motorcycle ride, and next thing you know, is he's out of gas. He doesn't understand why. And then I did it to his car. He had a really nice BMW, and he'd be driving around. Suddenly, he's like, "Wait a second! I said I had a full tank. I got about 30 miles, and now I'm sitting there stranded." So I just figured I'd up it.
That's hilarious. You got to heighten your pranks, man.
Yeah, it's a shame that he died though, because I wanted to, see what he thought of my prank.
Yeah, that's gosh, those are the things that you miss out on, when you lose someone.
Yep, near and dear.
Well, I mean, I'm sure he was laughing, to the end.
That's what I kind of picture like this. Oh, Brian, yeah.
Yeah. Well, boy, you really are. God, you are a funny prankster, pal.
Thank you.
Oh boy. So, Brian, this week was supposed to be the Scripps National Spelling Bee.
Yes.
It was supposed to take place this week.
Yep. Which lucky Indian kid would win?
That's exactly right. The Indian American community. That is a true great sports dynasty. Is the Indian American population destroying it in the spelling bees
every single year? Yeah,
absolutely.
I think last year there were like 8 kids. And I think 7 were Indian kids. And then there was like this one, white girl, like, I won.
Yes. It was so this weird, amazing 8-way tie.
Yeah.
I think it was 2018, this amazing 8-way tie with one white girl as the outlier. But it's not happening this year. And that's just such a shame. Mm-hmm. But I figured we should maybe talk a little bit about the spelling culture because you were a really prominent spelling bee participant in your youth, were you not?
I was, yeah, big time speller.
What was life? What was life like behind the scenes at a spelling bee? Was it competitive? Were you friends with the other participants? Did you ever win?
I won by default one year.
Oh, okay. That's great. Congratulations.
I was in second place, and then his name was Shri Shatva Panapanarian or something. It was a very long Indian name. He had come in first place.
Right.
But he was so excited that he jumped forward and actually stumbled off the stage.
Okay.
And fortunately, it was quick and painless. He broke his neck.
He broke his neck.
Yeah. And died on the spot.
Died on the spot, just celebrating a spelling bee win.
Yeah.
So you won both. Well, a win is a win.
Yeah, that's what I said. But what I shouldn't have said it right then and there.
So you heard the neck crack and your arm shot up in victory. And
I said a win is a win. And I got a very cool reception from the audience.
What was their problem? Was it just loaded with his family or his fans? Like,
yeah.
Why that?
because, you know, they hadn't adjusted to the loss of Cherie or whatever his name was. You know, they were just dealing with that. And then there I was celebrating my win. I should have been a little more mature about it and waited.
Or, I mean, it's also like at some point you have to like get on with your life and they need to sort of acknowledge your greatness.
That's the second thing I said.
So tell me exactly the words you said.
I said, at some point, we've got to get on with our lives and you need to acknowledge my greatness. And I mean, if looks could kill, you know, there were 2,500 people in the audience and 5,000 death stares at me, or eyeballs, except for the one guy who had one eye. So there were 4,999 eyes staring at me, just wishing ill upon me.
Oh man.
And just that, and then this kind of hissing. And then, so then I realized, okay, Brian, just shut up and wait. You're going to get your first prize. You're going to, just wait. And so I waited.
And all that happened before a doctor even arrived onto the set, right?
Yeah. So I waited. The EMT showed up. He was dead on the scene and they started wheeling him away. And that's when I said, are we ready now?
Are we ready now?
Yeah.
So did the ceremony continue to take place? The championship, awarding of the trophy?
It did, but I felt cheated because nobody seemed to be into it. A lot of people filed out to follow the body. The guy running it, he just kind of handed me my first place award, said congratulations, and then turned on me very quickly and walked off the stage. It was awkward, but a win's a win is what I said as I was leaving.
Do you think that guy was he in the tank for that other kid, for the Indian kid?
It certainly felt like it.
And is that why he was being so cold to you?
That's the impression I got. It's like, oh, they didn't want this guy winning. This silver-haired 12-year-old. I think I reminded them of Thomas Jefferson.
Was that because at the time you were banging a black chick who had no say in the matter?
Yeah.
Okay, that's Jeffersonian then. Yeah, that's nothing. I mean, do you think that guy, is the mob in this world? It's a little strange that this guy fell off the stage and died so quickly. I mean, it almost feels like, I don't know. When people have money riding on things, strange things happen. Did you ever get that sense? I mean, there had been rumors that the Albanians had moved in on the competitive spelling racket. Uh-huh.
And we're fixing matches and taking bets. And rumor was that the Albanian mob had put a lot of money onto me winning.
Oh.
And, and then a lot of it I feel like was sour grapes.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were accusals that the words I was given to spell were not that difficult compared to Cerise Septuagenarian or whatever his name was.
That can't be true. That is sour grapes. That really ticks me off.
Yeah, me too.
Give me that's God. I'm sorry, Brian. You won fair and square. Like what was a word that he had to spell for example?
Hippopoto monstros sesquipedalian.
Okay, gosh, classic scripts. And what was your word that round?
Lumber.
How many chances did you get to get it right?
They gave me 4 chances because they felt I was disoriented.
The judges were making that sort of judgment just on your.
Yeah, I just remember one of the ladies put her hand up and said disorientation rule, and so they gave me another chance at spelling it.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, those are the rules.
Yeah. I mean, they have rules and you abide by the rules. And when they create new rules on the heat of the moment, you abide by those.
Absolutely.
And that's what nobody else on stage understood.
What was the reaction like to the other participants on stage at that point when that was happening?
They were furious. I mean, they kept shouting unfair. They'd be like, UNFAIR, and just.
Did you even know what they were saying?
No, I thought they were speaking a different language because a lot of them were Indian. Actually, all of them were Indian. And so I assumed that they were speaking Indian language. Like,
even though A, they're as American as you are, and B, it just turns out that you just can't spell really well.
I mean, that was the accusation. But again, when you're number one, everybody else is out to take you down.
Right. You get that target on your back.
Yeah.
Were you able to defend your crown the next year?
No.
Oh, why? What happened?
From what I understood, the Albanian mob went with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
They went with somebody else they felt was more believable. So it was a guy by the name of Parjit Pinskamatawan.
Is it Irish?
He was Indian.
So how did you do that year? Well, you must have probably just been like top 10 or something.
No, I was disqualified from even entering because of my
Why?
Because I misspelled on the application, and apparently they created a rule that said that disqualified me.
What did you misspell in the application?
My name?
Oh gosh.
I wrote Brain.
Oh, instead of Brian.
Yeah, it's a common mistake. I get it all the time, but apparently that disqualifies you from competitive spelling championships. God. I was heartbroken. HARTBROKEN.
It's really good. It's a shame. You clearly still have the gift.
Yep.
Let's test your abilities here. I'm going to give you a word, and we'll see if you can spell it, but also give me the meaning. Use it in a sentence.
Yes.
So let's here. I'm going to pull up a script spelling bee word. Okay, here we go. Okay, here's a level 1 word for scripts is bingo. Bingo. Brian, can you give me its origin?
It was a dog. BINGO. Bingo was his name.
Okay, wow, and you can spell it. Can you and you just use it in a sentence while you did everything there. Okay, very good. It's okay. Bingo. That was a good one. Here's a good one. This is a tougher level 1 word. Amphibian. Amphibian. Can you give us the word's origin?
Yeah. If somebody comes up to you and says, hey, I'm a multi-millionaire, and he doesn't look like it, you go, I believe he amphibian.
Okay, you used it in a sentence. That's good. You want to spell it real quick?
Sure. AMPHIBIAN.
Correct.
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's go to, that was a level 2 word.
Okay.
Let's do a level 3 word.
Sure.
Synesthesia.
Synesthesia?
Yes.
Sure.
Can you give me the origin?
Yes. So if the church decides that you did something wrong and against the religion, they're going to put you down. And that's called synesthesia.
So that's euthanasia for sinners?
Yes.
Can you use it in a sentence?
Sure. Charles is no longer here because he committed adultery. And so the verdict was synesthesia.
Okay, good, I guess. And now could you spell it, please?
Sure. SINISTHESIA.
Wow, that's definitely not close. But I really appreciate the effort. I can see you still really know words. The correct spelling, of course, is SYNESTHESIA.
That's what I said.
Yeah, they can definitely just go back and listen to that since we record this. Easy to back up.
There's no need.
Okay. Listeners are welcome to just rewind a minute. And
I don't think they should.
Why not?
Because I think they know that I got it right.
Okay.
And you're fake newsing me.
They just choose to believe, they choose to like you. So therefore what you say is true.
Yeah. It's my alternative fact.
Okay. Hey, Brian.
I don't know. You tell me, Jack.
No.
What?
That was terrible. I look, sometimes it's best not to get a line stuck in your head. Like, I'm going to say this line no matter what. Sometimes you really need to listen to your scene partner.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Brian.
Hello.
Perfect, Brian. No notes.
Thank you.
So I have exciting news, Brian.
What's that, Jack?
You know, it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a few weeks since we've had an interview on our show.
Well, when people are in lockdown, it is hard to land guests. They're busy. They're locking down. They're sheltering in place. They're doing the thing you do when you do the plague thing.
When you do the plague thing, there's certain rules you got to follow.
That's right.
And so it's, I mean, it's tough. I do a lot of the bookings and it has been difficult getting people on, but a big one came through for this week.
Oh,
we have one of the Cuomo boys on today.
Oh my goodness. Governor Andrew Cuomo or CNN host Chris Cuomo? Which one, Jack? They're both gold to me.
Yo, they would be huge for the ratings. We didn't get either of those two guys, but maybe even better, we got Barry Cuomo. He's the youngest of the three.
There's a third Cuomo brother.
And I'm really excited. I guess, maybe he's not as accomplished as his brothers. I don't know, but we got one of the Cuomos on. All we just put in our, title for the show this week is Cuomo interview. And I'm telling you, we're going to get 20,000 extra listens this week.
It's but it seems like it might be kind of like a bait and switch. Because if I saw Cuomo interview, I'd be like, oh, that's either the hapless governor or the schmuck CNN guy. And then I click on the link and it's like Barry Cuomo, who I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, but think about it. Then you've already listened to 25 minutes of our nonsense, and you've fallen in love with us through our charms.
Okay,
and whatever it is you have,
that works.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be great. So, well, Brian, our first guest is the brother of Governor Andrew Cuomo from New York and CNN anchor Chris Cuomo, who had COVID, and he's gonna, I'm sure, have a lot of insight into what's that sound.
Oh, you know what? Those are the aforementioned carpenter bee traps doing their job. I caught one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Your first customer.
Yeah. Let me just... Oh, my God. No, there's nothing in the traps, Jack.
What is it? Okay. Well, what's the sound?
Oh, I don't believe it. It's a murder hornet, Jack.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my... But it's not in the trap. It's outside of the trap.
Well, just ignore it. Just ignore it.
I'll be right back. I gotta get rid of that before they mutate or grow or bud or whatever they do. Hold on, I'll be right back.
No, just be careful. Okay, at least he's coming back.
Oh my God, Jack, he's got a gun.
Brian, get out of there.
Hold on, let's talk this out.
Get out, Brian.
He missed.
Brian, this isn't...
I'm okay, Jack. Okay, that one hit.
Oh, no.
I'm bleeding out.
Oh, no.
He took my wallet.
Oh.
It's a thieving hornet, too.
Oh, Brian.
Tell your wife I love her.
Oh, God, you hate to lose the weaker half of a team like this. Wow. Well, of course, this leaves me all alone, as usual, to do the interview. This just stinks. I'm sorry about this, everybody. I'm sure, Brian, I should say this now, make any donations in lieu of flowers. Please send donations to the podcast in care of cash. Okay, so Barry Cuomo, or are you on the line? Barry Cuomo, this is Jack Helmuth in New York.
Hi, Jack. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
So you know what? I don't know a lot of your bio. As Brian, who just passed away moments ago, he was a little confused, thinking that you might be one of your two older brothers who maybe we know a little bit more about. We don't necessarily know a lot about you. What are you in politics? Are you in media? What are you into? I'm
an entrepreneur, Jack. My older brothers, Andrew Cuomo, who is governor of New York, of course, as many people know. My middle brother, he is Chris Cuomo. He's CNN anchor, had COVID, went out and about. And there's me, Barry Cuomo. I don't have the public persona that my brothers have.
That's fine.
I've gone in a different path. Obviously, Andrew really wanted to go into politics and be a leader. And obviously, Chris wanted to be on television and say things. I don't want to live in the shadow of my older brothers, Andrew and Chris. I want to forge my own path.
Okay, so then what is your path? So I know you're saying you're an entrepreneur. What is it that what sort of businesses are you creating? What are you doing to help people and to earn a living and to trailblaze? Well,
the living hasn't been earned yet because the idea has not been executed yet. And let me tell you what my idea is. Now,
okay, fair.
It's somewhat based on the accomplishments of my older brothers, Andrew and Chris. Mm-hmm. Okay, but it takes from what I learned from them, and it applies it into a completely new industry that I would become head of. So first of all, Governor Andrew Cuomo, my older brother, he had an idea where people recovering from COVID, the coronavirus, get sent back to the nursing homes whence they came.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember that.
It's a controversial idea, and a lot of people died. So here was my idea. I want to run a chain of nursing homes that are also funeral homes.
What?
Yeah. So when you have a high mortality rate in a nursing home because of, leadership that insists that recovering patients go back to where they came from, and then a lot of people get sick and die as a result. Well, you don't want to have to deal, especially in this time of crisis, with taking the bodies out, putting them in a truck, driving them to a funeral home. Why not have a nursing home that also is a funeral home?
Wow. That's there's some logic to that. It's kind of grim, but sure. So what would the setup be like? Like what's the hook to get people to go to such a place?
Well, it's an all-in-one facility. And as a result, because everything's combined, we have one facility, there's one roof. Okay, it's not two different buildings. You're already saving money there. If you walk in and there's the lobby, there's reception, and it's just very tranquil and peaceful. And there are a lot of flowers and plants. And then you can walk through the double doors and there's a long corridor and there's a dining area, and you can either go and sit at a table and it's kind of like a restaurant where you're served at your table. And then on the right, you have a bridge room if you like to play bridge. And then you go a little bit further down and you have a bingo room where we have bingo games, and it's set up. And then to the left of that is the crematoria. And then next to the crematoria, you have a parlor. And the good thing about the parlor is, older folks are always complaining that they're cold. Well, that room is adjacent to the crematoria. It's always warm because the crematoria is always going, and they're always comfortable there. And then down the hall, you have a television room that's set to your favorite channel. And then there's a computer room so people can email their relatives and send pictures or ask them for tech support. And then you go further down, there's the embalming room. And then if you go down a little bit more, you get to the residential wing. And then, of course, you have all your different rooms.
You paint a chilling picture. It's vivid, so I give you credit for that. A somewhat chilling picture. I'm worried that sometimes patients might be sent to the wrong room, where it's like, take Mr. Jenkins here down to the third door on the left, and there's guys thinking, it's the TV room because Matlock is on, but in fact, the third room to the left is the crematorium.
Yeah. After that happened, we instituted a new policy, and so what we have is everybody wears. You okay?
Yeah, no, I'm just okay. Go ahead. I'm just sad, I think.
Everybody wears a little necklace that has a little electronic transmitter, and that only grants you access to the rooms that you should be in. So you won't be able to accidentally walk into the crematoria until it's your time.
That's a lot to take in. And so the crematorium helps keep the residents warm in the bingo room and in the parlor?
Mm-hmm.
Because old people are always like asking for shawls.
Right.
They're just always cold.
We saved a lot of money on shawls.
What typically is the shawl cost for a funeral home?
Based on my calculations, $350,000 a year goes towards shawls for old people.
Okay, that's all right. That seems high, but that's a lot of money. I guess that makes sense.
And that's part of being an entrepreneur, Jack. I find out where the mistakes are being made and I change them. It makes it more affordable. First of all, to send a loved one to a nursing home where their life expectancy is greatly diminished as a result of my brother's policies. You might expect, a loved one to spend 15 years in a nursing home. But knowing that my brother is sending people sick with COVID to the nursing home as part of policy that was mandated, then we know that that's going to greatly cut down the life expectancy. Maybe it's just 5 years. So if you've budgeted for 15 years of taking care of grandpa, now it's down to 5. That's 10 years of bonus for you.
So are you going to sort of reach out to people who are hoping to get like inheritance money sooner? I mean, like, who is your audience? What's your target demographic for this?
People who have loved ones who they love, but not so much that they want to keep them around the house, but they'd rather send them somewhere else that happens to be a little bit cheaper because when they inevitably pass away, they're in a funeral home.
Those people.
Yeah.
Okay. While they're still alive, let's go to that. What are some other features that your home has that would make me want to send my loved one to Billy Cuomo's or whatever your name is, Barry Cuomo's? Sorry, Barry.
Barry.
I only just found out about you, so that's an understandable mistake.
No, understandable.
So to Barry's funeral home.
Now it's called Barry's Live It Out Place.
Okay. All right. I'm not gonna give you notes on the choices you've made. Great. So Barry's Live It Out Place.
Barry Cuomo's Live It Out Place.
Oh, okay. I feel like you may have just changed that on the spot.
You know what? I was thinking about it, and the name recognition is important. And if I just say Barry, well, that's not super recognizable. But if I say Barry Cuomo, people say, oh, that used to be the Tappan Zee Bridge.
Okay, great. So what are some other features that would make me want to send my loved one to Barry Cuomo's Live It Out Place?
Well, first of all, what's important in a nursing home? You need to keep people engaged, right? One of the worst things that somebody can do is to just sit idle. We want people to be active. We got to keep them engaged. And so what we do is we create a line of people in the hallway. They take the body of the recently deceased and they pass it.
Okay.
So
like a bucket brigade.
A bucket brigade for the recently deceased as a result of my brother's policies. And so as they make their way down the hallway, you know, everybody gets a little, you know, some people, of course, have more strength than others at that age. But everybody participates. They're getting a little exercise and they're saying farewell to a friend if they remember who they were.
Right. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and criticize. That's interesting. What sort of have you had many cases of COVID in your home?
We have. We've had 33. I mean, at first we had one, but we sent them to the hospital. And then they were sent back by my brother, the governor. And then a lot of people got it.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, you also might want to get yourself tested. It seemed like, so you've had 33 cases. How many people are at your home? A couple, 300-400?
Well, that's the thing. There were 33. So we have space. And that's where my brother Chris Cuomo comes in.
Okay. I don't mean to laugh. It's very grim. I'm sorry.
Well, he's on television if you think about it, right?
I do think about it.
And all the time, CNN with Chris Cuomo and my brother Andrew Cuomo, the governor, they have this little back and forth, you know, that's so fun and relatable.
Yeah.
And so I thought maybe Chris could loop me into that. And we talk about my new nursing home and how it needs people.
Okay. I guess that's where Chris could come in. But going back to those numbers, do you have 100% mortality rate from COVID?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So right now, do you have any old people in your home? Yeah.
So, I mean, what we've started attracting more people with advertising.
What sort of advertising are you doing?
Podcasts.
Wait, you're just using us?
Well, this is part of my entrepreneurial plan. Yes.
I'll tell you what, buddy, it's not a terrible idea.
Barry Cuomo's Live It Out Place.
What are some other features of the home that, again, I'm looking for things that would make me want to send my loved one to your place? I'm not going to say the name.
Well, there's a Zoom room, I'm calling it. And it's a big screen with a Zoom chat installed, and everybody can just sit there and Zoom with their relatives at the same time. You might have 4 or 5 people in the Zoom room and trying to Zoom chat with their friends, and everybody's up on a screen. And part of the engagement and keeping the older minds fresh and fluid is looking up at the screen and trying to figure out which relatives are yours.
That seems, especially with some older people who are going to have difficulty speaking and hearing, that seems like it would be very confusing for everybody involved.
Yeah, it's like a crossword puzzle in Greek.
So you think this is what's going to keep the old people's minds sharp?
Mental acuity, Jack, is key to keeping people going. So if you can imagine looking up at a screen of 300 faces and all these people are talking at the same time, and you have to look and pick out which ones are related to you. And is that Aunt B? I'm not quite sure. Am I a hamburger?
Wait, so are you asking that, or were they asking that?
They were asking that. No, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm Barry Cuomo of Barry Cuomo's Live It Out Place.
Don't. Okay. All right. Now, maybe the biggest thing that as a loved one I would look for in a nursing home is a staff that I can trust.
Yes.
Right? So there are so many awful stories that come out. There was one recently about elder abuse and abuse in nursing homes.
Yep.
What sort of person do you hire? What's that process like? So I can trust this place.
We hired all the people who were fired for elder abuse.
What?
Yes, because if you think about it, they know that that's wrong and that they made a mistake. And I'm all about second chances, just like my brother and my other brother are.
How are they like? How are they all about second chances?
Because they'd like you to give them a second chance. My brother, Governor Cuomo, for sending old people with COVID back to nursing homes by mandate. And then my middle brother, Chris, for not knowing anything half the time that he's talking on his CNN show.
Okay.
Give them a second chance. So you hire them. They're grateful. They're thankful. Okay, I've been given a second chance. Thank you, and I owe you. And on the flip side of that is, yes, you do owe me. I'm going to pay you $8 under minimum wage.
Well, that doesn't seem like something your brother would stand for. He wants minimum wage to be $15 an hour.
Right. And I want it to be $7 an hour.
Okay. It's family squabble. Do you guys argue about that over Thanksgiving dinner?
No, I haven't been to a Thanksgiving dinner in quite a while.
It just been too busy? Everyone's just too busy?
Well, that's what they say. Yeah. Well, if you think about it, my brother is governor and my other brother's on CNN. So they've got a busy schedule is what they say. But they send me pictures of them having Thanksgiving dinner.
Well,
so I don't feel left out.
Gosh, that seems like turning the knife, man. That's so everyone, your mom is there. Everyone's there.
Yep.
Gosh, how has the all elder abuse staff, how has that gone in terms of patient interactions?
What we've seen is we call it churn. So there's a very high in-go, out-go rate.
In-go, out-go.
So we have a lot of people coming and going very rapidly.
So tell me the story of the last person who checked into your home. How long did he or she stay? What was that process?
They checked in on Monday morning.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Monday was Memorial Day.
Yes.
So obviously no services were provided. So they passed from starvation by Tuesday morning. And not COVID.
Oh, God. What is that about, do you think? What happened?
They got no food or water for Memorial Day.
No, I get, okay. Okay. Well, Barry Cuomo, thank you so much for being here.
I thank you for letting me be here too, Jack. And right after I'm here, I'm going to head over to Barry Cuomo's Live It Out place.
No, I wish I knew how to edit the show and that Brian weren't dead. I would cut that out. Thank you for being here, Barry.
Thank you for having me, Jack.
Okay. Thank you all for listening. This has been another episode of Questionable Material with Jack and Brian. You know what? It's been a while since we've asked for some likes. You know, please spread the word so we can do this for a living once this crisis ends in 2 or 3 years. I thank you for listening. Good night.